Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be grading every NBA team halfway through the year. We're about 40-ish games into the season, which is crazy. The season is flying by. We're halfway through. I'm going to be grading every single team, how they've done so far at the halfway point. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Alright, so here we go. We're on Tier List Maker. We have a tier list. We have every single NBA team. This is how we're going to be grading them. So we have A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier, and how their seasons have gone. And obviously, this is like kind of personal opinion. For me, if you have a different grade for a team, let me know down in the comment section below. Um, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Let's not waste any time because we have a lot to talk about today. Start with the Atlanta Hawks. They're currently 21 and 19, sitting at seventh in the Eastern Conference. They've had some excitement. Obviously, in the NCAA tournament, they made it, or the NBA Cup. Sorry, they made it all the way to the Final Four. Trae Young's been having a solid year. Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson have been doing their thing. It's been some excitement. It's been solid. They're still around the play-in in the Eastern Conference, which is what I kind of expected from them. I'm gonna give them a B. I think that it's a really good B tier team. They've been around expectations. They've been kind of around there. They've been a lot more exciting, maybe even better than a lot of people would imagine. They have a lot of young players stepping up and playing really good, like Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, DeAndre Hunter's having a really good season. It's been fun to watch, and so yeah, I think B is good for them. B, I think that's a really nice spot for how I'm gonna grade them. Boston Celtics, they are 29 and 12, second in the Eastern Conference. They still are going to get an A, even though they may not have been as dominant as they were last year. Been losing a lot more games than usual. They haven't looked as S tier elite as maybe the Boston Celtics do. But at the end of the day, they're still the Boston Celtics. They still have the Celtics. They still have the reigning champs. You still have to respect them. You still have to go through them. And they still are second in the Eastern Conference by a pretty nice margin. Like they're gonna finish top two in the East and have a top five record in the NBA. So at the end of the day, like obviously they have like the highest expectations in the NBA because they're the reigning champs and we expect them to win every single night they go out on the court. And they haven't been doing that as dominantly as they usually do. But at the end of the day, they're still very, very good. The Brooklyn Nets, they are 14 and 28. They have dropped down to 12th in the Eastern Conference. Um, I don't give their season. Hmm. I don't give their season. It's between a C and a D for me. Only because they started off so good that now it looks dang near like not very likely that they're gonna be one of the top three seeds and maybe not get a top four pick this year, which is what their goal was supposed to be. But they have had a lot of players step up before. They have found that Jordi Fernandez is their coach for the future. Um, I'll give it a C. I'll put it in the middle just because they're starting to lose a lot more games. They've dropped all the way out of the play-in. They're 12th now. They're not too far out behind the Hornets and Raptors, but they are going to have to lose a lot more games. They're still going to have a pretty decent pick. They've gotten back some decent equity for guys like Dennis Schroeder and Dorian Finney-Smith. They still have yet to trade Cam Johnson, and what the package they get back for that could boost their grade up a little bit more. They found that Jordi Fernandez is a really, really good coach when you give him some talent. So that's good. And yeah, it's been all right. They were a fun watch at one point. Now they're not anymore. Ben Simmons also looks like kind of rejuvenized a little bit. So I think C for them, maybe potentially a D, but I think C is okay for them. Next we have the Charlotte Hornets. By the way, I have the records all on my phone. That's why I'm looking down and stuff just to get a refresher of where they are right now, standing in the NBA. Hornets are 10 and 28, sitting at 13th. Unfortunately, honestly, I think I have to put them at a D. And the reason why is because obviously LaMelo been great. Brandon Miller's had his moments. You have moments here and there from certain players. Which Diabate you found is pretty solid. Um, Mark Williams is back and he's been playing some great basketball. But they're still a lot worse than I feel like where they should be right now. Like I didn't expect them. Like there shouldn't. I'm not saying they should be a top 7 seed, be a 40 something win team in the NBA. Not saying that, but 10 and 28. I feel like they should be better than that. Like I feel like they should be kind of out of this. pit hole where you're like around the bottom five in the NBA still. Like I feel like they're a little bit better. Not saying they're a whole lot, but I'm saying they should be maybe a fighting for. I had them predicted as like fighting for a playing spot. You know, like I feel like that should be where they are, not 6 games out of it. You know, and only like 2 games better than the Raptors who are trying to lose. Like I just feel like things should be a lot better. They still have not really found a whole lot of talent this year besides obviously LaMelo, Brandon Miller, who obviously are because you drafted them in the top three. Like they still have a lot of more piece. They still have a lot more pieces to figure out the puzzle than I feel like where they should be at this point. You know, like they still are very, very bad. And I feel like they shouldn't be very, very, very bad anymore. So they get a D for me personally. The Bulls are 18 and 24. They're sitting in the play-in at 10th in the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna give their season it's between a B and a C, maybe like a C plus, B minus type of year, but I'll go with a C. Um, they have had some good performances. Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic are playing great basketball, and their values are skyrocketing right now. But besides that, their young players have been all right. Haven't had anything super amazing. They still are kind of competing in the Eastern Conference when they shouldn't be competing in the Eastern Conference. They've been a lot more exciting. I know they're fast paced, shooting a lot of threes, so that's cool. But I feel like they should be worse, or they should be going for worse. Yet they're still like not comfortably, but they're still like in the playing. You know, like still trying kind of to win games. So yeah, and Kobe White hasn't had a magnificent year. I just like the young players haven't been like the key. It's been more Zach LaVine and Vucevic, guys that they're trying to trade. So yeah, I think C for them. Cavaliers, I think no question, A. Like this is about as good as a season as you can really ask for. 34 and 6, tied for the best record in the NBA. I mean, what more could you really ask? Everybody's stepping up, having a great year. Kenny Atkinson's running away with Coach of the Year potentially right now. Everybody's having good years. Arvin Mobley might make an All Star game. Darius Garland might make an All Star game. Your bench is elite. Your offense is the best in the NBA. You couldn't ask really for anything more if you're the Cavaliers. So A tier for them. Dallas Mavericks are 23 and 19. They're seventh in the Western Conference. This is an interesting one because when they did play good, they were very good. But Luka hasn't played in a long time. They've dealt with a lot of injuries this year. Um, they went a little losing streak recently because without Luka, obviously you're not going to win a whole lot of games. I really kind of don't know where to put them, honestly, because they're in the plane in the West, but you also have to consider Luka hasn't played in a long time. So I'll put them B. I'll give them a B, just because when they are healthy, they play really good. You know, Luka's gonna come back at some point, and when they do come back, they're gonna play good. Also, they've had some young players step up, like Quentin Grimes is playing really good. Nigel Marshall's had some good moments. Daniel Gafford has been good. Derek Lively in the second year has been good. Kyrie is having an all-star type of season, so you still have some good things to kind of salvage right now. And obviously, you have the kind of excuse that you're hurt. So I think B tier is decent for them. The Nuggets, they're 25 and 16. They're fourth in the Western Conference. They're also teetering around a B and a C, just because I mean, Nikola Jokic is having an insane season. Russell Westbrook is playing great basketball, but besides that, there just hasn't really been much to really hold on to for the Nuggets. They still have a really good record just because you have Nikola Jokic and you're going to win games when you have Nikola Jokic on your roster. But in terms of them, what their expectations are in terms of getting and going to the finals and winning another championship, they're not really hitting that. They had a lot of players not really step up that they need to step up. Um, but then yet again, you look at their record and they're top four in the East in the Western Conference still. Saying all that with all the struggles they've had this year, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a. I want to go C. That's the thing. I want to go C. It's like really in the middle. Like literally, it's like B minus C plus tier. Like it's been that because it hasn't been anything super extraordinary. But you also look and they have a better record than maybe what you expect it to be with the way they started the year. I'll keep it in C. I'll keep it in C tier. We can always change stuff around if we want to. I'll keep it in C tier for now. Detroit Pistons 21 and 20, sitting at eighth in the East. They're another obvious A tier. I mean, they might not be at top of the league, but I mean they're over 500 in January. That's something the Pistons haven't done in a very long time. They look like an actual competent basketball team. They're a very fun team as well. Like, I've been loving watching the Pistons. Kate Cunningham should be in the All-Star game. So many guys are stepping up for them. JB Bickerstaff is doing an amazing job with this team, and they're good. The Pistons are actually a good, competent basketball team. You haven't been able to say that in a couple years now. So just dabbing, that's all they really wanted. Just look like an NBA team, look competitive, and they've done that and a little bit more. Look like they're gonna be at least make a play-in appearance. So that's great for Detroit. They obviously get an A tier. Golden State, they're currently 20-20, 11th in the West. For them, I have to go D tier. I have to go D tier. They started off the year 12-3, number one seed in the West. Everything was sunshine and rainbows, and since then they've just fallen off a cliff. Now back to 500, out of the play-in in the Western Conference. Players are not really playing well. The front office hasn't really made any like all the talk going on the last couple of days about them not wanting to trade their future assets and them just being okay with them being in this weird middle section. It's just not the way the Warriors should be rolling, and it's not the way Steph Curry in his last couple years of his career should be playing with. He should be dealing with. But that's where they are right now. They're just kind of in the mid of the NBA, which is the worst place to be in. So they have to get a D. The Rockets, 27-13, second in the West. They are another obvious A tier team. I mean, blowing expectations out of the water. We expect them to be good and competitive, maybe make a play-in appearance in the Western Conference, and here they are sitting at the second seed, comfortably, chilling. Ime Udoka has done an amazing job with this team. Jalen Green has been hot recently. Alper Sengun might make an All-Star appearance. Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith Jr., like Cam Whitmore. They've had so many guys step up for them. Their defense is amazing. They've been able to get wins this year. They are one of the fun teams in the NBA. And yeah, they're another automatic A tier, blowing expectations out of the water right now. Indiana Pacers, 23-19, sitting at fifth in the Eastern Conference. They have turned their season around. I made a video about that the other day. Go back and watch that. They start like before it was going to be a D leading to an F, but they have gotten to together a whole lot recently. Um, so I'm gonna give them. I might give them a C. I think I'm gonna give them a C because they still have a lot more to do. They have climbed back out, of the bot of like the big struggle. They still have a lot more to do. Still have to get a lot better, and I'm judging throughout the entirety of the first half of the season. So starting off really bad and finishing really high, average about a C, could be in the B tier, but I think C is a decent spot for them. The Clippers, 23-17, fifth in the Western Conference. I think they're another team that has to get an A for me. I mean, Kawhi Leonard's played what 3 games this year? He just came back, and they're sitting in the top 5 in the Western Conference. When I predict them not even to make the play-in, like they have just exceeded all my expectations as well. Ty Lue's done an amazing job. James Harden, definitely an all-star consideration. Norman Powell's in MIP conversations. Zubac is having a really good season. They've had so many guys step up. Their defense has been really, really good, and they've been just a whole lot better than what I expected. And now you bring Kawhi back, like it's just amazing. They've done everything you can ask from them. Without your star player, like they've done everything you could ask. So they got to get an A. The Lakers, 22-17, they're sixth in the West. Um, I think they get. It's another one that's between a B and a C for me personally. Um, I'm gonna give them. I think if I give the Nuggets a C, then I kind of have to give the Lakers a C. Hmm. Yeah, I think they're a good C tier, just because they haven't been able to find really consistency, and they've just been about the average. You know, like they start off hot, then they went on a losing streak, then they get on a winning streak, go on a losing streak. Like they haven't been able to put together a serious run yet. Like it's always been like 5 game stretch where you have a 5 game stretch where they look really good, another 5 game stretch where they look bad and things are, it's on fire. Then another 5 game stretch, you're like, oh shoot, the Lakers are a really dangerous team. Like it's just been like every 5 games, the narrative kind of switches. And so they haven't been able to really be consistent yet and really get in a groove. They still have a really good record in the Western Conference, so I think a C tier is perfect for them. The Grizzlies are 27 and 15. They're third in the West. I also think they get an A tier. We got a lot of A tier teams, but I just think like they what more can you really ask for them? I mean, John Morant and Desmond Bane haven't even been like superstar-ish. They haven't even been at their full peak level yet, and they're still comfortably in the top three in the Western Conference just because they have so much depth. Jaren Jackson having an All-Star year. The depth has been insane. I mean, guys like Santi Aldama, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jake LaRavia, Zach Edey, Jay Huff, Jalen Wells. Like they just have so many guys that you wouldn't expect step up. Taylor Jenkins is a heck of a coach. They have a heck of a program over there in Memphis, and they're a team you just don't want to face because they have so many bodies, so many guys. They play so well on both ends. That's like they're a dangerous team, and they're doing like you couldn't really ask for much more from them. So they get an A. Miami Heat. They're 20 and 20. They're ninth in the Western and the Eastern Conference. I think I'm putting them in the D tier too. Honestly, like the whole Jimmy Butler fiasco going on, it's just been tiring. And usually the Heat don't really go run like this. Usually this stuff doesn't happen in Miami. They haven't been playing really good. They've been around a 500 team. They were on a hot streak a little bit. They've fallen back down. I mean, they're below the Pistons right now, you know. And this team has high expectations. Bam Adebayo has not been having the same Bam Adebayo types year. The good thing is Tyler Hero is really good, and he might make an All Star appearance. But besides that, there hasn't really been much to hold on to with Miami Heat this year. Besides, waiting to see when is Jimmy Butler going to be off this team. So they get a D for me personally. The Bucks are 23 and 17. They're fourth in the Eastern Conference. Um, I I'll put them in the low B. I think they're in a low B, high C tier. Like about like very like B minus ish for me. Of course they started off the year very bad. Then the guys together won the NBA Cup tournament. They went on a little losing streak recently, but now they're putting it back together. Guys are back. Giannis is having a great year. Dame has been hot recently. They've really turned their year around. Credit to them from being one of the like below the play-in to now being top four in the Eastern Conference. They've been putting together some really good wins. They are really turning the year around. Look like a totally different team than when the first couple weeks of the season. And yeah, so I'll give them a B for that. Minnesota, 22 and 19, eighth in the West. I think they're another C tier team where high expectations. They haven't really been hit. They don't look like the same team from last year. They still are a respectable team and a competent team. So they still are good. It could beat you any given night. But just aren't they aren't the top team that we expect them to be coming into the season. And it's still been pretty good. They've had some moments here and there, but they just haven't really been able to be consistent enough and look like that top team that made it to the conference finals last year. So I think they're a perfect kind of C tier team. Pelicans 11 and 32, 14th in the West. They kind of have to go in the F tier. Like there's no other way around it. Injuries have just brutally derailed them. They're sitting with the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers right now, man. Like that's really all you gotta say. But they are on a 3-game win streak. They've overtaken the Jazz. Zion looks pretty good. CJ McCollum's been hot, so they're putting together a little bit, but they're also 11 and a half games out of the play-in, so they're really gonna have to step on the gas. So yeah, I think they have to kind of be an F tier. The Knicks, 27 and 16, third in the Eastern Conference. I'll put them in B. Considering for A, definitely, but I think B tier is good for them. They just been, they've been the Knicks. They've been good. Their offense has been elite. Anthony Towns is having a heck of a season. Their starting five is really good. They don't have really any depth. The defense hasn't been the same, but they're still a very good team in the Eastern Conference. So B tier, I think, is a good spot for them. OKC Thunder, another one, A tier. Can't really ask much more for them. 34 and 7. They have just been running through the NBA, even without Chet Holmgren playing. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP of the league to me personally right now. So many guys are stepping up for them. They're just a heck of a team you do not want to play. And yeah, A tier. Not really much more to say. The Orlando Magic, 23 and 26 in the Eastern Conference. Um, I mean, I think they have been losing a little bit recently. They've kind of fallen down a little bit. I mean, but the thing is, with the injuries they've sustained and still being like in the top five in the Eastern Conference, just says so much about this team that I really want to give them an A tier. You know, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll give them the A tier. I mean, you can't ask much more. I mean, not having your two top players in Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner, some nights not even having Jalen Suggs, is still being a solidified top four, top five team in the Eastern Conference, and still being able to be a competitive team in the NBA. is no, not many teams can do that. So you have to give so much credit to Orlando Magic for how much they've suffered this year to still be afloat. Is just so much, just so much credit to that team. Philadelphia 76ers, 15 and 24, 11th in the East. They're also another automatic F tier. Just bad. I mean, they had so much injuries. Joel Embiid's injured again. Paul George has just not been Paul George. So many players have just been underwhelming. They're sitting with the Chicago Bulls and the Brooklyn Nets right now, man. And the Sixers just, it's been a real struggle. It's been a real struggle. So I think they have to kind of be in the F tier. Phoenix Suns, 20 and 20, 10th in the Western Conference. Um, hmm. I'm also putting them in D tier. Just have not been great. Um, have high expectations. I've talked so much about the Suns already on this channel. I don't want to get going back to another whole spiel about them, but just have not hit expectations. Things do not look great over there for them. So a lot of just not great for Suns. So they get a D tier. Portland, 13 and 27, 13th in the Western Conference. I think they're get a B tier for me. I think they get a B tier. I think they're not supposed to be a good. They're not supposed to be a playoff team. They're not doing that. But they've had a lot of good. They've had a lot of competitive moments. Their young players have stepped up a lot. Shane Sharp is having a really good season. Danny Avdija looks really good. Toumani Camara is good. Donovan Kling has had his moments. Scoot Henderson's even had a moment here and there throughout the season. So yeah, I like a lot of the players on the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously they still have a lot to get through and a lot to do, but I think overall it's been a decent season for them. So I think they get a B. Sacramento Kings, 21 and 29th in the West. I put them at C tier. Obviously, they've been hot. They're hot right now. They're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They won 8 of their last 10 games under Doug Christie. Players are stepping up big time. But you also have to take into fact the start of the year where they were multiple games under 500. Things were not looking great. They fired Mike Brown. So overall, the season they get a C tier. They still have a lot more to do, and obviously this grade can change by the end of the year. But I think C tier for them. The Spurs, 19 and 21, 12th in the Western Conference. I'll put them at B tier. I think they've been a fun watch. They've been a really good watch. They're a lot better. I feel like they're a lot better of a team than what their record says. They have been losing a little bit recently. They're out of the play-in right now. But I feel like they're a lot better of a team than that. Wemby is an all-star lock, maybe having an all-NBA type year. Chris Paul has been so good for them. Stephon Castle has really stepped up. I like Keldon Johnson is in this role. And they're actually like competitive team. Like, despite the don't look at the record for them. Like, they're gonna come out and compete every single night. They have some really good wins. They've had some really nice stretches. Like, they're actually like a team you actually genuinely like to watch, not even just for Wemby anymore. Like, they're actually just a genuinely good team. So I think the Spurs, they get a B for that. The Raptors, 10 and 32, 14th in the Eastern Conference. Um, I think, hmm, I mean, they've been doing everything. I'll put them in B. I mean, they want to lose, and they've been losing, and also really competitive taking too. Like, not just lose by 40 every night. Like, they actually have some. They've been in games until the last 2 minutes, and then they said, "All right, let's push off the gas." Like, showing some competitive nature, showing off their young guys, showing that they actually can be competent, but losing at the last second. The only thing kind of derailing them from that 8th spot is their star players have been hurt. Their top three and RJ, IQ, and Scotty maybe have only played like 3, 4 games together. IQ's missed a lot of time due to injury. Scotty missed a lot of time due to injury. Some of the guys that they were trying to trade off have also missed a lot of time due to injury. So that's the only thing I think stopping me from putting them in the A tier. But everything else, I mean, everything they've wanted to do, they've doing it. So I'll put them in B. Utah, 10 and 30, 15th in the Western Conference. I'm putting them in C tier. And this is my reasoning for that. Yes, they want to tank. Yes, they want to lose, and they are doing that. They're very bad. But it hasn't been inspiring in a sense of, well, maybe the last couple games have been where they've been a little close, but it hasn't been inspiring where the Raptors, per se. I mean, Grady Dick has shown a lot. RJ Barrett has shown that he has another level to him. Scotty Barnes looks like an all-star. Ochai Baji. Like, they've had so many guys that you look at them and you're like, even Portland, like Shannon Sharp is really good. Danny Avdija looks really good. Toumani Camara looks like a really good NBA player. And you're like, okay, he has something to hold on to for the future. Like, these are the guys. Utah, you don't really have that. Like, Keontae George isn't having a great season. The rookies haven't been super impressive. Like, Cody Williams hasn't really been great. Hasn't been good this year. Unfortunately, Taylor Hendricks had that injury, so we can't really see him play. Even Lauri Markkanen hasn't been, like, super. Like, the only thing really you can hold on to, you're really good, is Walker Kessler, and then like Bryce Sensabaugh for the last like 2-3 weeks. But besides that, it's like they have not really had anything inspiring. You're like, okay, this is one of the guys for the future right here. Like, they don't really have that yet. So that's why I give him a C tier. And finally, the Washington Wizards, 6-33, worst record in the NBA. I'll put them in B tier. I mean, they're supposed to be very, very bad, and they are very, very bad. Jordan Poole looks rejuvenated. You know, Bilal Coulibaly has shown some moments here and there. Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr has been stepping up a lot recently. The only thing is Kyle Kuzma. Please trade Kyle Kuzma. He hurts this team. Like he just takes away so much from some of the like. I want to see Bilal Coulibaly ball, and every time Kyle Kuzma on the court, Bilal Coulibaly just goes back to being just like a defender. So I want Kyle Kuzma traded off this team so bad. But besides that, there's been some decent things to hold on to. Where you're like, okay, I can see paths here. I can see some paths here. So they get a B. But yeah, that's it. Final tier grade. We got a lot of A tier, a lot of B tier, a lot of C tier, a couple D tiers, and we got 2 F tier teams. But once again, let me know down in the comment section below if you have a different grade for certain teams. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it a whole lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.